The trailer for the upcoming third installment to the Ty West trilogy, Maxxxine, has dropped, and I want to do a creative breakdown of this trailer because there's a lot that gets packed into this trailer. For those that aren't familiar, Maxxxine is the third part to the Ty West trilogy, all starring Mia Goth. The first was X, the second was Pearl, and the third being Maxxxine. And like I said, there's a lot to unpack from this trailer. I'm going to be looking at this from a creative standpoint. What scenes did they end up using? How's the lighting? How's the composition of the frames? How's the music and sound effects that are being used in the trailers that help to overall sell this movie to audiences? So let's go ahead and dive in.
So, Maxxxine, your agent tells us you're quite a popular name in adult film and entertainment. Is that correct?
So this opening shot in this trailer, we have Maxine at a casting table. And one of the things that I really like about this trailer is the fact that there are a few different homages to past movies in the trilogy. When I look at this scene, this is reminiscent to the scene from the movie Pearl, when Pearl is auditioning for a dance troupe and has to sit in front of a panel of judges and be critiqued. And the key difference being Pearl was very nervous and self-conscious. And for those that saw, Pearl broke down during this, and Maxine is exuding the antithesis of this, nothing but overt confidence in the casting process.
I'm curious, did you always want to be in that line of work?
We see her in front of the mirror in this scene right here, and this, I think, even framing is so similar to the original X film, where she's actually doing drugs before they end up getting on the road. But you can see the similarities between the two framing. Such a similar shot between the original X movie and the new Maxine movie.
Always want to be in that line of work?
I always wanted to be famous.
We see she's filming for a movie called The Puritan Part 2.
If you need to read off the sides we gave you, just go ahead, all right?
I know the lines.
Once again, just very confident. I know the lines. I own this. This is mine.
She turns to the camera and, through her trauma, addresses the lens directly.
Great cut right there. Also, the way that they display the year is very reminiscent to what they did with X and how they displayed the year 1979, this now being 1985.
Name 5 celebrities who got their start in horror movies.
Jamie Lee Curtis, John Travolta, Demi Moore, Brooke Shields, and
Maxxxine fucking Minx.
Even the font type just feels everything from the music choice, which I believe is a Song Obsession, to the color palette. This is just screaming the height of the 80s.
I don't like walking out here with that freaking Night Stalker guy in the loose.
The Night Stalker.
Night Stalker?
Night Stalker. He's terrorized.
Now, the Night Stalker is actually, or was actually, a real person. And I'm not sure if this is emulating the real Night Stalker killer, if this is just a version of it.
Night Stalker.
Night Stalker. He's terrorizing Los Angeles.
I can handle myself.
So said every bad girl in Hollywood.
Very 80s.
Maxine, I'm the private detective.
I mean, really, really great atmospheric lighting in all these shots. One of the things I noticed, I rewatched both X and Pearl prior to watching this trailer. In X, everything is very dimly shot, very monochromatic. A lot of very minimal lighting used. If it feels like any lighting at all, a lot of it feels very natural. Whereas Pearl, everything is highly saturated, bright, hyper, almost Kodachrome as saturation in color. And here he's playing off a very 80s, very colorful, but still a little bit grainy in the film quality vibe. So, if you were to look at X, it kind of feels like you're watching an homage to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Pearl is stylistically very different and light. It's a very bright movie. It's a very colorful movie. And here it kind of seems to be a little blend of the two. You have a very dark setting in a lot of, particularly in a lot of the trailer, but a lot of very colorful atmospheric lighting.
I'm the private detective. I had to find you. My employer is a very powerful man.
You can see she's on the Universal Studios back lot at the Bates Motel.
Ain't finished with you.
She sees what I assume in her imagination is Pearl from X, who she also played and then played in the prequel.
It's gonna keep knocking at your door.
Tragically, another victim of the Night Stalker.
I knew 3 people who were murdered in 3 days. I'd be pretty scared. What are you hiding, Maxxine?
There is a ton of cuts in this trailer. A shocking number, actually. They are quickly showing you a lot. And if you were to actually go frame by frame, you are getting a ton of different footage from the movie. So someone sent her a tape, says for Maxxine, but notice above the VCR, it is a copy of the Puritan, which one can assume she's watching the original Puritan or has watched the original Puritan because she's starring in the sequel or is auditioning for the sequel.
If I tell you something, we've got confidentiality.
So the tape it's showing right there is referencing the film camera that was left behind in the first X movie.
Something we've got confidentiality.
Love Giancarlo Esposito.
What'd you do?
It's just the defining role of your career.
Whatever's going on in your life that's interfering with this picture, squash it. I intend to.
Great pacing and audio mixing in this.
Maxxine!
Maxxine.
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 You're a fucking movie star.
That caught me a few times. I have to assume that is a daydream and or nightmare, as this is not a supernatural film. At least the first two were not supernatural. But I get a kick out of this right here. I just have to assume this is a severed head behind the marker. So there it is. I think a really creative job of showing a lot of different content from the movie, but not revealing too much about where this movie is going to go. You have what appears to be a parallel in storylines. You have someone who could be blackmailing Maxxine's character for the events that transpired in the original X movie, as well as this whole thing happening simultaneously with the Night Stalker killing off people that assuming she knows or she's close to, or people that she's familiar with within the industry. So great job. Really curious to see how the movie actually plays out. I enjoyed X a lot. Pearl I thought was was definitely an interesting addition. I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as X, although I have to give a shout out to the final scene. In fact, the credit scene in Pearl, which is just Mia Goth just staring at the camera with a very uncomfortable, anxiety cracking smile for a very extended period of time as the credits roll. I thought that was such a great shot. In fact, both of the original films had really, really, really clever shots and use of angles. The shot that comes to mind for X was the shot when Mia Goth is swimming in the river near the farmhouse they rented, and you see the crocodile slowly start to track her as she starts to swim back towards the dock, and it's this beautiful drone shot. Nothing ends up happening, but it's just such a tension building shot. Another shot in Pearl where Pearl is pursuing her, she's pursuing someone down the front steps of her yard, and it's this wide angle shot of the person walking away only to start running away when she realizes Pearl is going to be pursuing her. Ty West seems to have a master of how he's framing and composing and building tension in his shots. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to all play out in this new film. But let me know your thoughts. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for tuning in. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notifications, leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. If you're curious about this movie, going to see it, your thoughts on the previous two movies, and how you think this one's going to stack up to it. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. If there are any other trailers you want me to do a creative breakdown on, put that in the comment section below, and we'll talk to you in the next episode. Take care, everyone.